Hey lovely viewers, welcome to GH News 24, your ultimate destination for everything General Hospital. First of all, let me tell you the headline of the news. General Hospital spoilers, Laura runs over Dalton, professor thrown in front of mayor's car? Britt manhandles Emma, Laura's public meltdown, Gio confesses to BLQ. Dalton frames Rocco for worse crimes, Rick's plea deal falls apart. Now I'm telling you the details of the news. Don't forget to subscribe. General Hospital spoilers, Laura runs over Dalton, professor thrown in front of mayor's car? General Hospital spoilers hint that Laura Collins might run over Professor Henry, Hank, Dalton. Will the professor get thrown in front of the mayor's car? Jen Sidwell's patience is wearing thin when it comes to unruly Dalton and all the trouble he's causing. Now that Dalton has framed Rocco Falconeri for lab destruction and drawn so much attention to their research, he may be a dead man walking. During the week of November 17th to 21st, Sidwell's temper will flare once again. We could see Sidwell officially reach his breaking point with Dalton, so Pascal may receive orders to get rid of the professor permanently. Meanwhile, it looks like Laura will have a very public confrontation with Dalton and toss some threats at him. Since Dalton framed Rocco and has left Laura's grandson absolutely terrified, she may warn that he's not going to get away with this. Later, GH spoilers say the election results will be revealed, so Laura may have some bad news headed her way. This whole Rocco ordeal may be one scandal too many for the mayor, so we'll see if Ezra Boyle perhaps scores a victory. Laura will get in her car later and could be pretty distraught behind the wheel. Between Rocco's despair and this potential mayoral defeat, Laura could be having a really rough night. That night could go from bad to worse if Pascal throws Dalton into the path of Laura's vehicle. Sidwell might view it as a way to eliminate Dalton and get back at Laura at the same time. If Sidwell's efforts to score Sonny Corinthos' peers are blocked in the end, he's going to be livid. Sidwell may retaliate in a big way, so this Dalton situation may tie in with that. Laura's going to make a stunning discovery on November 20th, so she may realize she's hit someone with her car. If that's the case and Laura learns it's Dalton, she may fear it'll look like she did this on purpose. The show released a pic that shows Laura crying in her car while Nathan West shines a flashlight on something nearby. Will Nathan be looking at Dalton's dead body after Laura runs over him? General Hospital spoilers say some fatal Dalton drama may be brewing, so stick with us for updates on any shockers to come. General Hospital spoilers Monday, November 17th. Britt manhandles Emma, Laura's public meltdown, Gio confesses to BLQ. General Hospital spoilers for Monday, November 17th. Reveal Britt Westbourne will manhandle Emma Scorpio Drake while Laura Collins has a public meltdown. Giovanni Gio Palmieri will also confess to Brooke Lynn Quartermaine, so let's discuss all the drama ahead. At GH, Britt will grab Emma, who'll snap at her on Monday's episode. Emma will warn Britt to get off her, but Britt will refuse to let her go until they get a few things straight. Now that things have turned disastrous for Rocco Falconeri in court, Britt will lash out and perhaps accuse Emma of being the ringleader of this whole lab break-in crusade. As for Gio, he'll admit to Brooke Lynn that he's the reason Rocco broke into the lab. Gio will take responsibility for dragging Rocco into this mess, but Brooke Lynn may reassure him and try to soften the blow of Dante Falconeri's looming anger. Over with Lulu Spencer, she'll grow concerned about Rocco facing a prison sentence unless she does something drastic. Lulu will complain to Carly Spencer about Rocco being framed since the lab break-in wasn't as bad as Professor Henry, Hank, Dalton made it seem. Will Lulu want Carly to ask Jack Brennan for a favor? Brennan often serves as Mr. Fix-It when it comes to Carly's loved ones, so she may agree to see what he can do. As for Laura, she'll have a very public meltdown as people gather around her with cell phone cameras. It looks like Laura will corner Dalton and call him a liar now that he's presented bogus evidence to ADA Justine Turner. In Alexis Davis's office, Rick Lansing, Rick Hurst, will admit he's trying to make peace with Sonny Corinthos and suggest maybe it's time to do the same with Alexis. Next, Curtis Ashford will have a tense conversation with Portia Robinson, who'll wonder if he's about to suggest they stay together for the baby's sake. It's possible Stella Henry's latest speech will get through to Curtis. Trina Robinson's pressure could also be a factor, so there's a chance Curtis might consider trying again with Portia. Of course, Portia may have reservations considering Curtis' obvious interest in Jordan Ashford and inability to stay away from her. General Hospital spoilers say Curtis, Portia, and Jordan will have a lot to figure out, so we'll bring you updates on any other love triangle news. General Hospital Friday, November 14th recap. Dalton frames Rocco for worse crimes. Rick's plea deal falls apart. General Hospital recap for Friday, November 14th, reveals that Rocco Falconeri was framed for worse crimes, so Rick Lansing's plea deal fell apart. Friday's General Hospital episode featured plenty of powerful scenes, so it's how it all went down. At Bobby's, Stella Henry admitted to Curtis Ashford that she'd figured out Portia Robinson was pregnant. Curtis confessed they were divorcing anyway, but she pushed him to work things out with Portia for the baby's sake. At the gallery, Trina Robinson talked to Ava about her parents' divorce before Jordan Ashford showed up with Jen Sidwell and Marco Rios. Trina led Jordan away from the others to show her some artwork for her new apartment, which led to tension and Trina's warning. Since Curtis listened to her, Trina insisted she'd make sure he never went back to Jordan. Back at Bobby's, Lucas Jones told Carly Spencer and Jocelyn Jacks that he was moving in with Marco at Windmere. Carly immediately flipped out and insisted it wasn't happening, but Jocelyn defended Lucas' right to live his own life. After Carly ranted about Jen Sidwell and suggested Marco was using Lucas, there was more tension. Lucas was hurt as he exited and headed to the gallery, where he hugged Ava for being so supportive. As for Carly, she snapped about how she'd never been so disappointed in Jocelyn. Carly insisted Jocelyn knew better than anyone how dangerous Sidwell could be. At one point, Sidwell also spoke to Ava about his desire for a bridge to peace with Carly and maybe even Sonny. Ava thought it might be a bridge to nowhere with Carly, but she felt things with Sonny would depend on what happened with his peers. Now that Lucas was moving in with Marco, Sidwell suggested that practically made him family with Ava and intrigued her. At the PCPD, Rick worked out a misdemeanor deal with ADA Justine Turner, which involved Rocco getting 6 months of community service. Once Britt Westbourne returned to the police station for updates, Nathan West assured her that Rocco would likely get a slap on the wrist. As Britt and Nathan were leaving for Rocco's arraignment, Britt looked concerned over Professor Henry, Hank, Dalton entering to speak with ADA Turner. Dalton indeed cornered Justine soon after and stressed the importance of talking to her about the lab break-in before she went to court. At Sonny Corinthos' place, he tried to ease Lulu Spencer's mind about Rick's abilities as an attorney. Lulu found herself wondering how the teens even settled on the idea that Dalton was doing illegal animal testing. Meanwhile, Giovanni Gio Palmieri expressed his guilt to Rocco since he was the only one in legal trouble for all this. Rocco offered reassurance and ultimately hugged Gio before he went to court. When Emma joined Gio later, he admitted he didn't know if he could live with Rocco taking all the blame. Emma insisted this was her fault, but Gio wanted to confess his part to Rocco's parents and leave her out of it. Emma argued that she would confess too and added that they'd do it together, so Gio took her hand and smiled at her. At the courthouse, Dante Falconeri voiced concerns about the optics of Laura's presence considering she was trying to win a mayoral election, but she insisted on being there for Rocco's arraignment. Rocco was pleased to see Nathan, Britt, Sonny, Laura, Dante and Lulu were all in the courtroom to support him. Marco also popped up and claimed Diane Miller wanted him to report back with news on what happened. Rick was clearly feeling good about the plea deal he worked out, but Justine insisted it was off the table once court was in session. ADA Turner talked about new evidence coming to light that pointed to Rocco destroying proprietary information. Plus, there were hazardous materials on site that could have put lives at risk. Rick approached the judge and tried to request a postponement due to Justine's curveball, but the judge argued there'd be time to prepare between now and the trial. Since Dalton never mentioned Rocco destroying anything during his earlier face-off with Laura, she knew this was a frame-up. Sonny also acknowledged this was suspicious and eventually glared at Justine. The judge set Rocco's bail hearing for 2 days from now and insisted he'd be remanded into custody until then. Rocco panicked and had a courtroom outburst, but Rick, Lulu, and Dante settled him down. Nathan also offered Rocco reassurance as he was hauled off in handcuffs. Finally, Marco got Sidwell on the phone and hinted about the outcome being worse than they feared. General Hospital spoilers say Dalton could be a goner now that he's so boldly going against Sidwell, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching these videos. Please hit the subscribe button for more updated news.